Good morning. Got my coffee, which I desperately needed. Let me show you a picture why I need it so bad. As you can see, we had snow and ice. A ton. A ton for us. We don't get snow very often. Oh, but I needed that coffee. But Lisa and Michelle went to work. They had a co-worker that lives near us, considering they work in the store that's a ways. They both work in the same grocery store. But he's from New England, and because of his vehicle, they asked if he would swing by here, pick them up, and he did, because they couldn't get out, especially Michelle's little car. But yeah, they're at work. Didn't like the idea because of black ice, because there's a ton out there. Yeah, North Carolina. The day before this all happened, it was in the 50s, high 50s. So, now all this. Oh, well. So this is my floss tube. Thank you for joining me. Season 2, episode 4. And this weekend was a hard weekend for me. So I didn't get much stitching done. And floss tube is where I talk about my stitching, whether it's cross stitching, sewing and quilting, crocheting, and all. This week I got some sewing and a tiny bit quilting and tons of cross stitching, but not that much. For the week, I only did 5,480 stitches, whereas last week I did 6,715. So it went down. It was a difficult weekend for me. This weekend marked the 1-year anniversary of my mom's death. And then I had those memories. And then the snow ice storm that came, that reminded me of things. It reminded me mainly of the ice storm in Mississippi. Me and my mom had 2 houses next door to each other that we were renting. And I was working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shifts, so she watched my kids overnight. And I went to work because work told us no matter what, they were not canceling our shift. Nope, not going to happen. Well, I was not even at work for long. And the police came in and shut down the factory and told everybody they had to go home. And the factory had no choice in it. They shut it down. So I made it home. And I looked and my mom's house was all dark. And it's like, why is it so dark? And my house was all lit up. Nobody was supposed to be in my house. So I went into my house, and my mom and my sisters, my brother was not living at that time with us, but my 3 sisters, my mom, and my 2 kids were in there. Now, my kids were little. One was in 1st grade and one was in Head Start. And I'm like, what are y'all doing in my house when you have a house next door and all? Well, they were all watching TV, about to get ready to go to bed. And they heard a huge crash. And they ran in the back, and a huge tree limb, about almost half a tree, had fallen through the roof and landed on my sister Jessica's bed. So it was a good thing she was not in the bed, because she wouldn't have made it. It was huge. So they all moved from my mom's house to my house. Another plus, my house had gas heat and a gas stove. Her house had electric. The electric went out. So they needed to come over anyway. But I always remember that time because the power was out for 2 weeks. And I remember that ice storm in Mississippi and how all that happened. Every time it rained, it snows. And here it snowed. It was the year anniversary of my mom's death, and just tons of memories and everything. And rough weekend. So I didn't talk much. I stitched a lot slower, but I did get some things done. For one, let's go into the quilting. I started quilting on one of my grandson's quilts, and I got some of the blocks done. These are the two type of blocks that I'm doing. And see that yellow in there? Now some people are telling me no, and some people are saying yes, but I think they think it's a border. I'm not doing a border. But for the binding, that's only going to be like this wide. I'm thinking the yellow, just for the binding. I think that would look great. And okay, that's more the color. It's not, oh wait, no, okay. But I think that would look fabulous and it would really pop. So I've started on Aiden's quilt. Then for Dee Dee's sewing challenge, this week was to make a scissor holder. So I made one for my little scissors using scraps. And there they are. So, very happy. Even used the only snaps I had. Didn't have to buy anything. I really like that. So, that was the sewing and the quilting. Now for cross stitching, I did some on the Celtic Knot. Here's where I was. And I did 700 stitches. Now the Celtic Knot is actually upside down here. So the Celtic Knot is free patterns by Ink Circles, and I am using this for the DMC Magical Stitches Challenge. Each week is a different color. I ran out of the green, so I had to buy more. Finally got some more, so I was doing it, and then yellow was last week's color. This color, I think this color, I'm actually using it on a different square. They did a year of Celtic Knots, and I'm going to be putting all of them on there. So this week I will be working on that one. So I've got to finish those two colors off. I won't finish the colors off totally and do this week's color. For the challenge, I only have to do 100, but where I'm only using each color once in between all the knots, so I want to finish off the color every time I work on it. Then I worked on my Cricut sow. Now here's a picture where I was. And here, let me get this string off. There is where I'm at now. I started working on the Wendigo. Almost got it done, not quite, but that's okay. I am behind. Got the other one right here. But as you can see, there's only 2 left. So I've just got 3 left to do and finish the Wendigo. And then this one is done. I have loved the stitch along. The creatures are so cute, how they did them. So I'll be working on that this week. I won't finish the Wendigo and the one that came out last week. Then, the only other project I worked on was along the forest path. This is where I was. And I finished the page. So, I also made a decision to cut off the last 2 pages of the column, whole column. I did that because, for one page was only 20 stitches across. And by cutting off those, I only cuts off 5 or 6 inches off the pattern. Most of that is black. So, here I am. I've got 1 page left. It will end about right here, if I remember right. So I cut off that much. Almost done with the top row. I cannot wait. Row 3 is when I start to stitch on her. I was so tempted to skip this last page, stitching it, knowing I'm still going to stitch it and just work on this one and then work down into her. But no, I'm going to be good. Now, it took me 7 days of work to get this page done. I added it up. I need 7 more days to finish this. By the 1st of February, I want to have this row done. That is my goal. But I love how it's looking. When I saw this pattern, and it's a Haid pattern by Selena Finch. Okay, I know I'm not saying her name right. I'm sorry. Oh well. But anyway, it just transported me to being in the woods. And I had to do it. So yeah, this week, my bulk of my stitching will be that. But for magical stitches, and where are they? Okay, so I'm going to be working on the Celtic Knot. I'm also going to work on the Cryptosalve for this week. Also, for this week, I need to get done my whip go of either the zombie frog, which is on the Cryptosalve. I'm not pulling it out. Or All Hallows Eve. I can't decide which one, but for my Halloween whip go, I need to do 2,200 stitches in this. I'm leaning more toward this because I haven't worked on it for a while, so, and I'm wanting to work on it. And that's one thing with me working on along the forest path. I don't want to work on anything else. I just want to work on it. But I want to make all these goals. And if I'm going to make those goals, I've got to stay on track. So probably All Hallows Eve, Cryptosalve, the Celtic Knot. And then for the magical stitches, for the weekly prompt, is the most colorful whip. It's Moonlight Serenade. Here's a picture of it. That's all I got done. So I gotta work on it. This one I'm doing on 25 count, Easy Grid Ada. Yeah. Sorry I didn't tell. Most of my pieces are Ada, 18 count, including along the forest path. But, so, Moonlight Serenade, Cryptid Sow, Cryptid Sow, Celtic Knot, All Hallows Eve, along the forest path. I'm going to try and work on all 5. I want to give as many days as I can to along the forest path. So we'll see. I would love to get 3 days on that so I can finish the page before the 1st. That's my goal. Today, I'm going to be working on Moonlight Serenade. Let's see how much I can get done on it. So, that's my stitchy plans, my progress, and my stitchy plans. Then, I'm going to work on that next week. My haul. First of all, Carla being crafty. I won the pattern and I got it in already. And it's the chickadee pattern. I love my chickadees. I love watching them. And that's one thing, if you see me looking out, off to the side, I'm looking at the birds outside. In fact, right now, there is a downy woodpecker and a chickadee on the bird feeder. And I love watching them. I love it. But, so I got the chickadee pattern. Then, I bought these threads in December. And I just got them in this week. And they're for a mermaid's tale, a mermaid's treasure. So it's majority of the flosses I need for that pattern. Then I also bought this last month. Yes. So I will be starting this when I finish a whip of that size. And then after I'm done with this one, I'm going to start the swans. I have signed up to get all of them. I love them. I'm thinking I want to put all 4 of the winters on one, and then the spring, all the seasons on the same piece of fabric. And then that way I can change them out per the season. Then I signed up for this. The Fat Quarter Shop, the Floss of the Month. I got the Classic Color Works in. And it's all these blues. So let's see. So I'm going to be getting these each month. I got Wavy Navy. Snips and Snails. Mermaid's Fan. Rain Shower. And Blue Corn. Yeah. Then Tyler Boy Blue. That's the variegated one. Oh, I love them. So I signed up. That's all the colors. cannot wait to use them. I don't have very many classic color works, so that's one reason why I signed up. I wanted to build up my collection, but look at all those. Gorgeous. But that's it for my haul. Even though I bought the floss last month, I'm counting it as my budget for the month, for this month, because it did not come out of my check until this week, and then it got here super fast. So yeah, so all of my budget for January is right here. Nothing else. Everything else I paid for before. And that's it. That is it. I'm going to sit back, get some stitching done, and watch the birds. And I hope everyone has a blessed day. Thank you for joining. Hit the like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing my progress. But have a blessed day, everyone.